What does gifted mean to you?
There are many respects in which gifted could be applied
Person
to,
or a
like,
student is able
musically,
to
intellectually,
Someone
think
who
about
has
and
something of
process
value that
ideas,
is given upon them,
concepts in
whether they deserve it or
Anyone
not.
It doesn't have to be everything,
interesting
but like
and
you just have
unique
to really
ways.
Possesses special
enjoy doing it and
qualities
you're
that
really good
aren't
at it.
immediately recognizable in other people.
The state of Texas, in Texas Education Code Section 29.121, defines a gifted and talented, or GT student, as a child or youth who performs at or shows the potential for performing at a remarkably high level of accomplishment when compared to others of the same age, experience, or environment, and who exhibit high performance capability in an intellectual, creative, or artistic area, possess an unusual capacity for leadership, or excel in a specific academic field. In my school district, Alamo Heights ISD, entry into the GT program is designed to be thorough. It's split into 4 phases: informational meetings, nominations, screening, and selection before a student can even begin participation. Even then, the tests we use only screen limited areas. I wanted to see what students themselves knew about the process.
Something about you have to take a test, and that's all I remember actually.
Well, getting into GT classes, usually you take some kind of test.
In our school district, we have a testing system that tests verbal and linguistic abilities as well as mathematical abilities. Those are what I believe are the only 2 domains in which we test.
But what I found was surprising. Some people are exploiting loopholes to join these classes, not because they genuinely have a need to learn differently, but they want to appear more attractive to colleges.
Testing, I think. I've also heard of people using doctor's notes. I'm not entirely sure.
A desire to enter such courses is diluting the system. Appeals can be filed, and because GT is considered special education, outside examination results or medical notes can be hard to counter.
It is possible to go to an outside testing source and have a test taken as many times as needed in order to achieve a qualifying score. I think that in the high schools I've worked in, I think that it's fairly consistent that families and kids who want to be in a GT program can find ways to get medical passes from outside testing sources.
Even then, pre-AP classes are almost identical, save for a few extra test questions. People overload themselves with classes in a constant push for numbers instead of knowledge.
I guess currently in school we learn the same material. I mean, we might have different teachers. They don't really teach in a different manner. The enjoyment in learning is not present because you have the stress of completing everything and trying to get a certain GPA by doing all this work that really you don't retain, or like crashing for quizzes, or it's hard to cope.
I feel like GT classes and pre-AP or just other advanced type of classes are very similar to each other, and doesn't really necessarily need to be a divide there.
I feel like you shouldn't be in a GT class unless you feel like it's really the right fit for you, and not for, I don't know, some reason that you think it would look better on a college resume or something.
The total dichotomy of being gifted or not isolates GT students into small social groups and promotes an us versus them mentality. Even though the system has good intentions, it's far from what it should be.
I mean, I will say, I don't know a lot of kids that I don't have classes with. And like from the moment I got here, I've basically stuck with the same people.
I guess people like to be surrounded by people who think alike them, but also it's good to be exposed to different kind of minds. People who think differently have maybe ideas that you and your friends in GT classes wouldn't have thought of. Just a bit of variety.
I believe that GT classes exist in high school as a way to allow a group of students to be together, who share common interests, who think in a specific way. That's why they should exist the way that they do exist on many campuses. As it's almost as a way to isolate, it seems, in my perspective as a GT teacher for many years, when students are together exclusively throughout the day, only with each other, it isolates them in a way that may slow social and even intellectual cognitive capabilities, because their experience is fairly monolithic.
Being labeled gifted and talented empowers individuals, and those around them, to believe in their potential. That's what makes it so attractive. But GT isn't supposed to be better or harder or easier or even the same. Just different, to help those who learn in unconventional ways. In 1968, Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson conducted an experiment in elementary schools. They had classes take IQ tests, then labeled some children academic bloomers. They told their teachers that these students fell in the top 20% of IQ tests and to expect high academic achievement from them. But what these teachers didn't know is that these students had been chosen completely at random. When the researchers returned again to test the classes, they found that the bloomers performed better regardless of their initial scores. It's the high expectations from teachers, peers, and parents that are making these gifted students perform better. We should tell every youth that they are remarkable and capable and leaders with high potential. We must recognize that everyone is gifted, and that our perceptions of them will shape their future.